and this can be for any of them. Um, we talked a lot about research-based approaches to educating. Are there curriculums that are been developed to implement education programs for that distracted driving fight that we do for educators?
Okay, good question. Nicole?
So there is, it's not for distracted drivers as much as it is for teaching very young kids. There's like a true curriculum. It's an education-based curriculum it's called Protecting You, Protecting Me. It is expensive and it's out of Hazelden, but it is completely research-based and evaluated, and it started out of, a team of folks out of Mothers Against Drunk Driving and the researchers from Texas. And it used to be utilized in school-based programs, but because of all the budget cuts and stuff, it doesn't hardly get utilized anymore. But there are folks that, and a few ways in which if people are related to Department of State Health Services, that there are ways that people can request training to implement the curriculum. And there is a trainer in Texas to do that. But it focuses on, through curriculum and through science classes, teaching kids about the brain research and what happens to their bodies and all that. And then it also has a component where it teaches, so this is elementary school age, and it also teaches a piece where they learn about how if they are young and having to, like, so if their parent was drinking or their relative was drinking or something, how they position themselves in the car and feel confident in saying, like, well, I want to ride in the back seat, and making sure their seatbelt's on and things like that. So it's very worthwhile to look into, and I can put you in contact if you're interested in the person who does the training in for Texas around that. So that's how I would specifically for curriculum, like curriculum.
I would tell you that there is curriculum and education on distracted driving, specifically on there. The content is research-based. The delivery has not yet been evaluated for effectiveness. So that's an important distinction I want to make for you. If you're interested, you can go to our website, distracteddriving.nsc.org. You can see a lot of some targeting employers, some targeting school children, and we are going to be rolling out in the spring a campaign targeting mothers, specifically targeting mothers. It's interesting. Mothers are an interesting group because even more so than fathers, they have a very high degree of concern about their kids, particularly about proper buckling up and strapping them in the back seat and all that stuff, even to a higher degree than fathers. But then they totally negate all that by using cell phones at much higher rates than men do when they're behind the wheel. So we're going to focus specifically on mothers and getting mothers to understand hands-free is certainly not risk-free, so both can help. The risks are actually very comfortable. But don't worry, guys, we're coming after you next.
Somebody asked about the curriculum. It's called Protecting You, Protecting Me. And I can put you can get my contact information. I'll put you in contact with the folks who know more about that.
Okay, we have time for one more question.
Talk about raising the taxes on alcohol and getting the price out of reach of the consumers. Is that not going to create more violent liquor store robbers or house burglars or something to pay for that habit?
No, it's like you're talking about 10 cents a drink. So ultimately, what you're doing is you're primarily focusing on not the people who it impacts the most are the people who drink in a risky manner because that's how they drink, like underage drinkers or young adult drinkers, like the research that you saw. I think Carl had that on his slide. But then the other folks are folks that multiple people have been describing, which are people who perceive themselves to be moderate drinkers, but drink in a more risky fashion. And so once they start realizing that they're paying more for their habit, so to speak, they just drink less. And so instead of having 2 six-packs, I might have a six-pack. And so that's where, so you're not talking about people who are in typically violent criminals as, like, you're not talking about people, you're talking about most of, I mean, like, that'd be like a portion of the population in this room perceive themselves to be moderate drinkers and probably drink a little more whiskey than we should, and plenty of us who were in our 20s and early 30s probably, and in college, drank more than we should. And so when it starts to hit us in our pocketbook, so we're not violent criminals or any, but we might have done dumb stuff like get in the car and drive. So you're reducing them in the pocketbook so they'd reduce their drinking. So, yeah.
I can see you doing this group of people, but they also affect the other group who are the violent type, who are going to create more crime, I think. They're not making their drivers, but you're creating a problem for them also.
So I hear what you're saying, but there's no research that indicates that. And it is the most studied strategy of all the strategies that are recommended. So I would tell you if I had seen data like that, but I have not seen any, and I've looked at lots of it. Yeah. Yeah, and do I think it makes a difference? Absolutely. 10 cents, absolutely. I mean, think about tobacco. I mean, are y'all kidding? People, I mean, they argued at the last couple of legislative sessions ago that they should increase the excise, they should decrease the excise taxes because it was actually having the opposite effect because they weren't earning as much money as they needed to earn, so maybe they should reduce it so that more people would buy it, right? Because they needed the income. There was proposed legislation to do that. So yes, absolutely. The difference with alcohol is that you have a population that can drink moderately and in a non-risky way. And so you want the risky drinkers to drink differently, not get on our roads and not do dumb stuff. But you want the moderate drinkers, which is probably, a whole portion of us in this room, I'm sure that not everybody is a zero tolerance person in this room, that they drink one or two and they can pay a dime a drink and it's not a big deal. The average person in Texas, based off of the science that we have from the economists who are well-versed in this, said the average Texan will pay about $4 a person who drinks. So yeah, I do believe it. It's shocking. It's shocking. It's almost unbelievable. But cigarettes show that it works. And all the other research does too. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, before I turn it back over to Carol to close us out, I wanted to just share with everyone just a little bit of information. I know we've just kicked off fiscal year 15 and we've been closing out fiscal year 14 for those of you that have traffic safety grants. But believe it or not, fiscal year 16 proposal process is just around the corner. I wanted to let you know if everything goes as planned, we have submitted our request for proposal for 2016 to go into the Texas Register. It's supposed to open up this Friday, assuming everything goes through the formal process. And so I just wanted to give everybody a heads up that it would be opening this Friday. And also a heads up that we will actually be doing some webinar training next week. So on Wednesday, November 12th, from 8 o'clock to noon, we will be doing a webinar on selective traffic enforcement program proposal process. That's Central Standard Time. And then from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we'll be doing a proposal training for the general grants. And so again, I wanted to give everybody a heads up. Timing's not great. I just wanted to give you an idea. What we'll do is notify everybody on Friday if everything goes through. And then the proposals we're hoping and anticipate will open up on Monday morning. We found out just today we're going to be doing a server upgrade at TxDOT over the weekend, and so our server's going to be down. And so, but we've actually, proposals, the anticipated submission date, assuming again everything opens up, is going to be January 8th at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so that gives you about 2 months to put together, and hopefully many of you that are interested in the proposals have been working on those already and gathering all your information, and you're ready to just fill out the form. So at late Friday afternoon, you're not going to be able to open it up and go ahead and get started on it, but you'll be able to do it hopefully early on Monday. So again, we just want to give everybody a heads up. We will be posting information out on our eGrants website about all of the dates and all once everything goes live, and we'll have a question and answer process time period, so all that will be explained. And then we'll also be posting our training out on our eGrants website, or out on our help page, and so you'll be able to go back and refer to that. So I just wanted to let everybody know about that process. And so now I'd like to have Carol Rawson come back up to close us out. And I just wanted to mention that it takes, in every state, it takes champions in the traffic safety area to help us be successful and provide that leadership. And we are blessed at TxDOT to have Carol as one of our champions in traffic safety and helping to lead us and support us in all of our efforts. So Carol, thank you very much.
I'm truly blessed to get to work with him and all of my group, and what a great community to work with. But I have a lot of thank yous to say. First and foremost is thank you to all of our speakers. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and you certainly can see the commitment, especially coming through with everybody that was here today. They all just did a great job. So if everyone would give a round for the speakers that are still. You know, and second of all, I want to thank all of you. I mean, to take a full day and take your time in order to be here, we all can see the commitment that's all here and all in. It's all in. And like you said, like we've said over and over again, this commitment is going to be climbing that mountain. What a great analogy is, because sometimes you don't know where we're going to go or how we're going to do it, but all of us together, I've never seen a smarter group of people, that if we can't whip it, then it can't be whipped. And a super, super special thank you to Jenny and Sean. We love seeing y'all. Keep up the effort. And then a special thanks definitely goes out to all the people that are behind the scenes that make, you don't realize how much work it is to put something like this on. I'd like to make sure that I thank my Sherry Matthews Advocacy Marketing team, and they're a wonderful group. I love working with them, is Ruth Ellen, Janet, Chris, David, Sarah, and Melissa. Y'all did a fantastic job. Thank y'all. And my staff from my traffic safety group that do incredible work all year long, but definitely Terry Pence and his leadership. Marcia Scott, you're incredible. And Shalandra, who also is our new one that's on, that came in to put all of this, and all of my other people that helped and put all in to go and get this great. So thank y'all. Be receiving an evaluation. We don't have forms here today, but we'll be receiving an email that's an evaluation of the summit as a whole. Y'all's comments help us so much to figure out what we did right, what we could do better, what things resonated. Make sure you send those evaluation forms, because they're really important. So keep an eye out. All of the attendees, we have email addresses, and we'll be going back for that too. When we break, there is a reception for those I know that y'all are going to be staying. We'll have food. There's mocktails. I guess that's not a cocktail, but a mocktail. Music, and then there'll be a drawing for those that are eligible for $100, $200 Visa gift cards. That's well worth staying, guys. You know, I could buy something with that. But there is a lot to take away from this. As much as we've enjoyed today's meeting, I wish it was the last meeting that we had to have like this. If we didn't have impaired driving, and we didn't have close to 1,400 people losing their lives here in Texas, we wouldn't need a meeting like this. I'm sure all of us would have other jobs to do and other things to do, but it just would mean that we didn't have a problem with alcohol-related crashes, and that we had nothing more to talk about. But the truth is that there isn't a silver bullet for getting this serious problem into check. And with what we learned today, it's clear that education, enforcement, and collaboration have a major impact on reducing the number of impaired driving crashes, deaths, and injuries. We know collaboration is an ongoing work in progress, because we all know we don't have to work together, and sometimes we get along and sometimes we don't, but generally we get along. And people do have different opinions and different things that are driving what we're doing. But it isn't simple and it isn't quick, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of stamina. But at the end, it always pays off. Anytime we do collaborate, it's amazing the mountains that we move as a group. When you go back to your communities and continue the life-saving work that you do, we hope you take back the ideas that you've learned today and you put into a place to combat, impaired driving that's out there. If you aren't yet active in your community's traffic safety coalition, or you don't have one, do it. I mean, we're seeing these coalitions coming about, and we're seeing the benefits that are happening from a statewide. And we really want you to start one, and if not, become active in one along with it. And we're seeing the benefits of all of that. Speak up. I always tell my people, I have almost 180 people that are in my division, and every week I have a safety minute. I have a safety call, and we talk about everything under the sun along with it. But the things that we talked about today, tell somebody about it. Tell your family. I know my poor family, they hear more things than they've ever wanted to hear. My 3 sons, oh my gosh, they don't have a chance. But I say go back and tell someone, tell them about the information, and tell them that, because everybody makes a difference. Everybody will make a difference, and you never know who you may convince not to drink and drive. You could save their lives just by talking about what we're having. You have to be brave enough to speak up, or when, like you said, like our speaker said, when you're at that party and everybody's drinking, and I'm sorry, I'm the wet blanket. You're not driving. You have to be brave enough to speak up and say that it's not going to happen. And as we mentioned earlier, you have the thumb drive on the little card. That's a wealth of information that we have, and great for you, good takeaway. There's research reports, there's fact sheets, there's contact information for the TxDOT community coalitions. There's almost 25 research reports on there that are all good information for you to take back, and it's all from leading experts, as well as marketing information, because we all know that you spread the word by your education efforts, and employer programs, contact information. It's all there for you to use. So it's all in something that you can take away without even having to remember a URL to go to. And finally, before we go and separate this afternoon, I want to encourage you to let people like Jenny and Sean Carter be examples of dedication and commitment. What did you say? 10 speeches so far. I love hearing the messages that y'all are getting, because you all are working. You're going to make a difference. And I think Jenny always says it best, I always think about it, and I've heard her say it many times. It's just one life. One life. If I could save one life, what an amazing thing if you could save one life. If we could all save one life that dealt with impaired driving just today, if all of us could save one life, we would lower the number of fatalities by 33%. 33%. Hey, we might be below that number, that 30% that we don't ever seem like we can move off of. So it's all about us. It's all about y'all and taking and spreading the message. But we do appreciate y'all being here. What a great day to talk about a really, really hard subject, and appreciate you and hope to see you soon. And we got some proposals, got some ideas. Come on, guys, let's go. Always looking for good ideas, but thank y'all very much.